Hey everybody, it's Brother Philip. Welcome back to Verbum Dei. We're so excited to continue with you our reflections on Genesis as we go into Genesis 2. When mom or dad loses their child in a store, it's terrifying. They're separated from their son or daughter, and he is their child, their flesh, their biological child. We seem to get a lot less terrified at the prospect of the separation of husband and wife. But they are also called to be one flesh, as we know from Genesis 2. It says, man leaves father and mother and clings to his wife, and the two become one flesh. So if this isn't the same thing as the flesh of the child, what does this mean between man and women? Well, it certainly means the marital act, but it goes much deeper. It means firstly, unity for life between man and woman, and secondly, dependence on God. Now, I have a really good source for this. The source is Jesus himself, and some help from my professor, Father Jose Granados. So in Matthew 19, the Pharisees come up to Jesus and they ask him, is it lawful for a man to divorce his wife? At the root of the Pharisees' question is something a little deeper. They're asking, is love possible? Can we love forever, till death? Now, Jesus answers, and he refers to this passage in Genesis. Man leaves his father and mother and clings to his wife, and the two become one flesh. Jesus then says, what God has joined together, let man not put asunder. Jesus says, let no man put it asunder. This relates to unity for life. The man and woman are called to live together for life, even when Adam and Eve were around in the sacrament of creation. They're one flesh, meaning one life. This being joined together also can be translated as unite together, unity. And it comes from the Hebrew word dabak. It is a covenant word, meaning for life. The man gives his whole life, his whole future for the wife, and the woman gives her whole life and her future to the man. They're joined together for life. It also means the one flesh of the child. That there's this one flesh of the child that they're not just called to generate and leave behind, but to educate and to raise. They're called to care for this child in virtue and lead him all the way to heaven. And this requires their love for one another, their fidelity to do this task together. Now, how is this possible that man and woman can love one another, be faithful for life? Jesus also says, this is what God has joined together. What God has joined together, let no man put asunder. The reason it's possible is because it's not a marriage of two, but a marriage of three. God's also a part of this, and he is the source of love. He is the source holding them together. This reminds them that they're needy. They're dependent on God in their marriage. They cannot do it alone. It also reminds them that it's not theirs to separate. It's God who joined them together. Finally, the Pharisees are told that it's because of the hardness of their hearts that they are doubtful. Because of the hardness of their hearts, they do not believe love can last. So, how do we repair hard hearts, make them soft again, or hearts of flesh? The answer is in Jesus. Jesus on the cross institutes the sacrament of matrimony. In this, he gives the man and the woman the ability to be a sign for the world of the love Christ has for his church. Christ giving himself to his bride, the church. Therefore, they're given hearts of flesh. They're given a grace from the sacrament itself to love one another till death in this way that Christ loves, to sacrifice for one another, but also to reconcile, They have hearts of flesh that can forgive and return to the promise that they first made. So, if we are married, let us take a moment and call upon that grace from our marriage, that we would be able to forgive and reconcile any places we need to forgive, and that we might be able to love and be faithful in any places where we feel like that is lacking. And may your marriage be faithful in good times and in bad, in sickness and in health, till death do you part.